Hey Vanessa, what are we doing today?
I'm getting my nose to stop being red.
Hey Vanessa, what are we doing today?
We are doing an update.
A life update. This is a little bit different than the videos that maybe you've come to know and expect if you've just simply followed us on YouTube.
No biking, no kayaking.
No biking, no kayaking.
No outdoors.
No outdoors, no Grand Canyon.
Oh, you're no fun anymore.
It's just going to be us kind of talking and giving a life update. I think we got a little bit away from updating those that have been following the journey. I know a lot of people have been following us from lots of walks of life. So we've got people from our home church down in Sierra Vista, First Baptist, as well as other churches from the region that have been following the story. Mm-hmm. And since December of last year, we've got family, we've got friends, and we kind of fell off the map, and then we just started creating ridiculous videos because I like to create cool content and videos. And I got exposed to a world I never knew existed.
And apparently I'm doing cool things, and he gets to do them with me. It's not just me. That sounded bad.
No, you're doing cool things. And I think that it's cool to bring people along for the story. And that content's not going to go away. We're going to keep doing cool things and filming it.
Yep.
But we want to start adding in a little bit more life updates more regularly for our family and those who are following the journey and want to know more about what life is like on the other side of a spinal cord injury.
Yeah.
So, this past summer was the summer of... We dubbed it the summer of rec therapy. And part of rec therapy, if you don't know and haven't been in the circles of recovery for a long time, everything's therapy. You've got occupational therapy where you learn how to put pants on.
Put your pants on.
That was the biggest thing, and use the restroom and shower and
lift a lot of weights. I don't know why occupational therapy gets all the weightlifting, but it does.
Then you have physical therapy that does a lot of what occupational therapy does, but different.
They're very different. I don't get some of those folks who are either or talking about the other.
This is my fight song.
I'm not going to make any statements on what either one does. I'm just going to keep doing it.
We don't want to start an OTPT war because of this video. So rec therapy is something that would normally happen at most inpatient stays. But for us, we kind of had COVID. There was an SRV flare-up. Barrow had kind of cut back. I think they relaunched, and they're doing more now than they were when we were in inpatient. But for us, that rec therapy looked a lot like going to Ability 360. And I'm not going to rehash all the things we've done. If you've been following us on YouTube, you've already checked it out. If not, click on some videos, some links there below, or in Vanessa's newsletter.
I will add with that too, where because of my stay at Barrow, there was a grant available for folks who went through inpatient rehab, where I did at Barrow, to have a year membership to Ability 360 to kind of spur getting that connection made with once people got out of inpatient rehab and kind of what's next. So we've been able to take advantage of that, which is a big reason why we decided, let's focus on that this summer. So I had taken a step back from regular therapy as often back in May. And so that was kind of when we said, okay, well, since we're taking a step back from this, let's do a lot of these recreational therapy things that you have the opportunity to do and try out different adapted hand cycles and lasher and so.
Even though the kayaks aren't always adapted necessarily, but like getting to see how we can make kayaking safe for us where we're at.
Mm-hmm. Doing it with other cool people.
Yeah, getting to know lots of people. So that's been a huge part of what we've been doing is recreational therapy. And those videos aren't going to go anywhere. We're going to keep, I'm sure next week
I like
there'll be
being
another
outside.
Video. So do I, and I enjoy getting to see all the cool adaptive gear because there are people way smarter than myself that are thinking of some really cool ways to help people who are paraplegics, quadriplegics, people of all abilities to get back in nature. And I think
You're
that's
really smart.
Well, not that smart though. I think it's cool seeing what they're doing and being able to tell the world
experienced in a different area.
Well, that's true, but I think it's very cool.
It is very
what
cool.
they have done, and I think it's cool to tell their story from our vantage point.
Crazy engineering of different things.
Engineering happening, and it's just cool. Yeah. So we might have missed out on some life updates through the blogosphere. I know I've been writing some blogs. Might have been a little less life updatey and more like me processing. And if you're following that, please keep processing with me. I'm going to keep releasing stuff. And I know Vanessa was more of like an actual update newsletter, and we're hoping to revive that and do some video content like this to help supplement and just keep you up to date on our life and what's going on and how things are with the Crabtrees post-surgery and during recovery, which is where we're at. What are the big life events happening in the Crabtrees' life? We celebrated
our 10-year anniversary.
Our 10-year anniversary. And it was an extra special 10-year anniversary because
I'm here to celebrate it.
I know. It felt like the first year and the 10th year, oddly, all at once in a lot of ways. So, yeah, like I'm excited to celebrate 10 years with you. Sorry, not to derail any conversation.
No.
Here.
Well, and I think it's worth explaining why it felt a little bit like our first year. You know, like my body's all new in a lot of ways. So you can take that lots of directions. And so just adjusting to that is a big deal. And, you know, okay, we're going to go on a vacation for our 10th anniversary. And I'm, usually we'd probably go rent an Airbnb. Except now I'm like, wait, if I rent an Airbnb, am I going to be able to get in the bathroom? Am I going to be able to get through the door? Am I going to be able to get up the stairs? And so there's all of these new things to think about, which can be kind of overwhelming at times.
Yeah, and I know that first year of marriage for us, like learning how to kiss and hug and, like at some point we should probably do an actual video and explain what our dating process was like. I'm not going to do that here. But one of the things for us is like, how do I hug? How do we hug? How do we connect? How do we be married? Again, and it's really a process. It's been a process.
Yeah. I remember my first night home after being out of the hospital. I was so excited to get to sleep in bed next to Jeff, and I was just kind of distraught about it because I'm like, I can't even like roll over yet. And not only that, they teach you how to roll over by like punching, and I'm like, I can't. That's not going to work.
Sonia wins.
So that's been my PT and OT joke for a while.
Needless to say, I've gotten really good at blocking in my sleep. So
Yeah, right.
that's update. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Luckily, Vanessa doesn't use that particular technique at home. And I'm sure there'll be some fun content with that coming out because it's just hilarious how inpatient you learn one way, outpatient practical. And
like, you're going to learn
different.
it this way, and then you're going to go make it up yourself when you go into the real world. It's a little bit of the vibe.
A little bit of the vibe there. But that's kind of the thing. And I'm just super blessed, especially my mom helping us be able to actually get out and go do a really sweet adventure that we'll be dropping at some point. It's going to be grand. Just kind of general life happenings. We've got our anniversary. There's a question that keeps coming up over and over again, talking to family. When we got to go back to Sierra Vista and hang out with some friends and get some much needed connection time.
And cooler weather.
And much needed cooler weather. But
It was a wonderful weekend.
It was a nice weekend.
A nice weekend with our church family down there, too.
Walking. What is the status on walking?
Walking. So this video is kind of going to be the walking video as we've talked about updates, as that's probably the biggest question that has been asked, will be asked, will probably continue to be asked for the rest of my life. And so to put it in the words of my surgeon, there is approximately 0% chance of ambulatory something or other, big words I don't remember.
Ambulatory motor functioning?
Something like that.
Yeah.
We'll find it, and Jeff will make it appear.
Yeah. So, layman's terms, medically speaking, there's not hope. There's zero hope.
Approximately.
No hope. Right.
That's not none. But at the same time, like realistically, it's highly improbable that I will walk again normally.
Yeah. And we are people of faith, and we pray and we believe in God. And there's going to be more content to come on lots of topics, especially theological topics down the road that we're wrestling through as we go through this process. But a big part of it is I don't want people to lose hope and go, well, Crabtrees are faithless. Like that's not it at all. It's like we're going to worship God, period. No matter if you walk or not, we're going to worship
Yeah.
God. We're going to be Christians and God followers regardless.
Yeah.
And still pray and have hope as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know through this accident, honestly, within the first couple moments of my accident and realizing I can't move my legs, I remembered the story of Joni Eareckson Tada. And she's someone who I've been following more and more through my accident, and someone who's been incredibly faithful to God through her own accident and quadriplegia. And, just knowing, her faith is clearly strong and has clearly been an impact in so many lives. And she's not walking. That's not how it works.
It's not how it works. It's not how any of this works.
And that's not to say that Jesus' miracles aren't real and that God doesn't work that way and doesn't work that way even in today's age. I'm not going to tell God what he can and can't do.
There are miraculous stories we heard continuously while we were an inpatient from all the people around us talking about patients that are quadriplegics 2 years, 3 years later walking out of a pool.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not giving up hope in that sense. We're not placing our hope in walking, though. We place our hope in Christ.
Yeah.
And his love for us regardless.
Yeah.
Of temporal where we're at in this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's been a part of the faith journey as part of the life update here is it's a tough one. It's a tough one, I think, for us. It's a tough one for our family. And
Yeah.
yeah.
It's tough to grapple with the accepting the reality of I probably will never walk in this lifetime.
Yeah.
So, and even understanding that as the more I've learned about scientifically the accident and injury and how much of a spectrum it is, there's an ASIA scale that says, okay, you can feel this, but not this. You can move this muscle, but not that muscle. And that kind of determines what level your injury is. And so the level of my injury is T12, which is in the very bottom of your thoracic spine, right above your lumbar region.
Find your belly button, pretty much right behind the belly button.
Pretty much right there. So I can feel at my belly button normally. And just below that, it starts to feel abnormally. And then eventually in my thighs and my knee, depending, it's a little lower on my right side, that's when I start to have no sensation at all. And so they make this ASIA scale, and sometimes my injury is incomplete because if it was complete, it would be, okay, I can feel everything up to my belly button, and then it's complete, and then I don't feel anything else. There's no movement, no sensation, no nothing below that level. And so my injury is incomplete because I do have some of those sensations. And there are some muscles that I can engage a little bit. And a few more of them than earlier on in the story, which is really cool,
So much has come back that is, we didn't even know if she was going to have or not.
Yeah.
And like the other day in therapy, we're working on crawling across a mat, which seems, I guess I feel like watching a child for the first time to some degree. I'm sitting
There's
Vanessa,
been a lot of those
Vanessa
child
off for
moments.
the first this and the first that and the first driving day.
Bathroom
and now
things.
she's doing crawling for the first time. Hopefully if we have kids, it's not in that order. They're driving, then they're crawling. That'd be weird. No. But it's kind of interesting to see how the body has progressed. One of the weirder sensation points that has come back that's not as fun is you feel the top of your thighs where you don't necessarily feel the muscles. It's like a skin sensation. Mm-hmm. But what does that feel like for you?
It feels like a sunburn pretty constantly. Yeah. It's a little bit tingly, kind of like, your foot fell asleep but is also sunburned at the same time.
Yeah.
So
sometimes when everything's reconnecting, it doesn't feel great. And some people have to live with the sunburn effect for the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and for some people, it's a lot even more severe than that. It feels like pins and needles all the time, or electricity, tingling, or different things like that. So that's nerve pain.
Right. and nerve pain will more or less be a part of life.
Yes.
Joni, Eareckson Tada, talks a lot about that. Actually, we're going through a devotional called Through the Storm, I think. I don't know. I'll put something on top of my face right now so you can see what it is.
Going through a devotional that Jeff will show you right now.
Where Joni is talking about just that, what it's like to go through a lot of pain and a lot of change, which is difficult. And I'm not as familiar with Joni. I know you grew up knowing Joni, which is just not knowing Joni, but knowing
knowing the story.
And it's been a new trip for me, and that kind of brings us back around to our 10th anniversary. We've never really gone on a wedding retreat, and we're excited that we have the resources around us. We're going to get to go to a wedding retreat. Marriage retreat, not wedding.
I don't know what a wedding retreat is, but it sounds pretty cool.
Sounds cool. Marriage retreat. We're going to go to a marriage retreat.
Yeah.
And part of that marriage retreat, all of that marriage retreat is through Joni and Friends. Yeah.
So for couples who have been affected by disability, whether that's disability of a spouse or disability of a child, anyone kind of in that situation, it will be a marriage getaway for them.
Yeah, and we're excited to be able to walk through what we're going through with some people that hopefully can help.
Yeah.
Give us different kinds of advice, spiritual advice, life advice.
Yeah.
Learn from them. And just connect with people. Have fun. Kind of talking about the elephant in the room, we kind of paused physical therapy for a little bit. What's going on with physical therapy?
I have restarted physical therapy. It's been 3 or 4 weeks now already. So I ended up going to a different clinic in town, Touchstone Rehabilitation. Actually, a friend I had met at one of the kayak trips, I found out was going to one of them, and so ended up there as a very good thing. And have been really encouraged by another take on physical therapy and getting to keep being engaged in that again. And the biggest reason that, not to cut you off, sorry, biggest kind of goal right now for that and why I wanted to get back into it is getting leg braces.
Yeah, so with the leg braces, not only can Vanessa stand for periods of time, she'll be able to walk. Adaptively is potentially, it's kind of one of the goals maybe.
Yes.
And being able to, I mean, even just the limited mobility of we're in our house, you want to cook something. You can stand up and walk in the kitchen and cook something and see into the top of the stove.
That'll be glorious.
Instead of the side of the pan.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to see and cook your food if you can see the food, not the pan.
It is. The other day we were cooking, I was cooking some vegetables in there, and I went to go get leftovers, and I'm trying to scoop the leftovers out, and I'm like, I got a couple of, pieces of broccoli, and then I kept scraping, and I'm like, I think that's it. And I have to get the pan off. Like, that's it. Yep. There's only 2 pieces left. So we did good with our vegetables the other day.
And we still use cast iron from our marriage 10 years ago. We've got some old cast iron that we use, but in a wheelchair, cast iron is not necessarily the right tool.
It's a pain in the butt. They recommended at PT, and OT recommended that I get, lightweight aluminum type cookware, and I just didn't. I was like, for now, I can handle the cast iron a little bit, but mostly if I'll plan the food and Jeff gets to cook it.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot more cooking around the house. That's been kind of fun. One of the things with being able to get into the standing frames is we've been helping each other doing some stretching together.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Well, I haven't helped you at all, but you've been helping me a ton.
That's right. But yeah, so being able to engage and help from the house has been huge. And it was through Touchstone. They showed us a couple stretching that would help stretch out that hip flexor so you can actually stand up on top of your hips, which is very important. We also have a standing frame, and they've helped us out tremendously with that, getting it adjusted, making it to where Vanessa can stand and work. And
yes. I worked in it standing for an hour the other day.
Yeah.
Previously, it had been kind of hard for me to do 30 minutes at a time. And so through getting that all adjusted well, now my goal is to spend, first 30 minutes 5 days a week and keep working that upwards of an hour. Some folks even up to 2. So an hour 5 days a week is the official. We know this has benefits when you're able to get me in a standing position. benefits lots of things. I mean, first, just stretching out muscles that are, I don't remember the right word, but, you know, in a seated position all the time, because sitting's bad for you, right?
Well, then what do you want to do?
I don't know. Something.
Wow.
And now I'm forced to do it most of the time. So standing up to work for any length of time is good for me. It also helps with digestion. It unsquishes your bowels, I guess. So helps things move along.
Yeah, helps things move along.
Should we wash our hands?
No. We're number 2.
One of the other updates in life, we're living in Phoenix. We sold our house in Sierra Vista, got to Phoenix, wanted to get up here.
The hottest summer ever in Phoenix.
Oh my goodness. I'm a Texan. I grew up with hot weather, West Texas, dry heat, kind of desert-ish, even though we're not technically a desert.
You're the plains.
We're the plains.
High
But
plains.
man, I don't think I've ever lived a whole month above 115 degrees and the low temperature above 91 or 92. I forget what it was.
It was in the 90s.
It was in the
for
90s
sure.
consistently for a month. So it's like you don't even get a cool down in weather. So that was really challenging. We lived through the hottest on record summer in Phoenix since they've been keeping temperatures out here. So hey,
We had a bit
win.
of a cool break. It got, the highs were only in the 110s.
Yeah. So it's a hot one out there.
It's a hot one.
Phoenix is aptly named the
So
Sun Valley.
thankfully,
man.
our air conditioning has been working great. We live in a ground floor apartment with not a lot of windows, for good and for bad. So for this summer, for good.
For this summer, for good. The question that kind of gets tagged along with that is, are you ever moving back to Sierra Vista?
Right.
I know I heard that a lot when we traveled down to First Baptist, even from family. We don't know. The short answer is we don't know what life has to offer or what the next steps fully are.
For many of you, when we started this and moved up to Phoenix, it really was, we're moving to Phoenix for the year to be close to medical care, physical therapy, doctors, all of that sort of stuff. And so right now, that's the plan.
That's the plan. That's still the plan. We are here. There's lots of medical. You're in seeing a doctor of some sort 2 to 3 times a week, depending on the week.
Yep, between physical therapy and doctor's
then
appointments.
If you add Ability 360, which is that free resource,
trying to work out.
like the week's pretty full trying to stay at resources up in Phoenix. And so it's really good that we have you where we got you.
Yeah.
Help you out with rehab, help you out with life moving forward.
Yeah.
So that's a huge one for us. Just kind of a robbery update. I know that some of you knew that we were robbed. Welcome to Phoenix.
Life in Phoenix. City life.
City life. I'm
So
not
it
that greedy anymore.
was we have a garage that we were able to rent right at our apartment complex, which is handy, but that garage is what got broken into.
Yeah.
So they took
Ladder,
tools,
and
a big box of our sound gear.
a big box of sound gear. So
Cables, microphones.
all of our recording interfaces. We had high dreams of having more music stuff done by now, and we're just on pause until that gets happening. But on the music note too, we're on the hunt for figuring out a better pedaling system. I know that while we were kind of re-engaged with worship music, pedaling was really difficult.
Yeah. And so pedaling, for any of you who may be like, wait, she can't pedal a bike. What's pedaling in music? With the piano, there are pedals that go with that. And the sustain pedal particularly lets notes ring out, so it doesn't sound like. But
Hold those sounds over. Just a little bit.
being able to use that pedal and use it properly is a huge transition for me. I've experimented with all kinds of things, sticking it in various places and leaning and backwards and forwards. And so the latest idea comes from an experiment, a project Jeff wants to do.
That
and
I'm
wanted to
familiar
do for
with.
a long
I've been
time.
wanting to do a laser harp. Back when I was in my bachelor's degree, like a long time ago. So hopefully we're going to do that project, and the principle I'm hoping will carry across pretty smoothly. So hopefully you'll get to see a cool state-of-the-art laser pedal from us
Yeah.
in the not too distant future. Kind of think of your garage door. It has a laser beam. You break the laser beam, the garage door stops and goes back up. A similar concept, except less complicated to one degree, because you're just simply saying on or off.
Yep.
So we'll see if we can get this done, because
Yeah.
that would be a really cool way to get you back on the keyboard. And if it works well, then hopefully get it out to the world and let people have an option. You know, like if they're in a similar position,
Yeah.
here's an option.
I did try a bite switch, but that was hard for lots of reasons. Most of what we do is I'm singing and playing at the same time, so a thing in my mouth doesn't work. As well as I feel like I've spent so much of my musical career trying to like, don't grit your teeth, relax your jaw. So like using a bite switch feels very awkward for a sustain pedal. I'm sure I could get used to it if I had to, but if I don't have to, that'll be great.
Yeah. So there's the update there. We haven't heard much about the robbery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have insurance, so thankfully they should be able to help cover at least some of the cost of the things that were stolen. And of course, that's a hurry up and wait sort of situation. So
Waiting on insurance feels a bit like staring at the desert and watching tumbleweeds.
somewhere one of us must have prayed for patience. We probably both did. Patience is a good thing. Theology videos for later, right?
We're just getting tested right now. We're uncovering what patients we currently have and what current patients we don't.
Yeah.
It's wearing thin.
I like that wording. That's a good word.
Uncovering it. Yeah. So, what are we looking forward to this coming month?
Yeah. Let's see. This month is August.
Yep. Just getting a routine, finding a local church, finding a church body we can connect to, small
Yep.
group, something. I know that that's really pretty big on our priority list this month.
Making relationships. There's a number of churches who have some kind of disability ministry.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of looking at that and just seeing what that looks like. It's not something that's ever been on our radar before, really, in terms of being involved in churches. Or if it had been, it's like, awesome, that's something someone else is doing and it's really cool. But we just haven't known a lot about it. So suddenly we are now in disability ministry via life circumstance and learning a lot about that.
I know one thing that we have started to learn about, and I'm excited. My dad always took us to like car lots, and we would look at cars even though we weren't going to buy. I feel like this is the season we're in where we're going to adaptive car lots now.
Yes.
And seeing what adaptive gear exists and how does this work and how does all this, what does the next step to get Vanessa a car look like?
What kind of ramps in the van, and it's probably
Are we
going to
go with the van? Are you not going to go with the van? Here are
Do
the
we
options.
get the thing with the
Out.
claw? That grabs my wheelchair and puts it back in the van.
Do you transfer outside of the car and have the seat come to you? There's so
lot
many
of options.
and it's
Things
overwhelming.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool. And then that brings us to next month,
Yes.
which is my birth month, which could be a lot of things looking forward to in September.
Yeah.
We've got a marriage retreat. We've got
Yep.
the Abilities Expo, which is going to be
Yes.
really cool. Get to actually physically touch some cool adaptive gear,
Mm-hmm.
see what's out there, the latest, greatest, most breaking gear. That'd
Yeah.
be cool. And
Yep.
not break the gear. I don't have the money to buy for the gear. See the latest and greatest gear, though.
Latest and greatest gear at Abilities Expo. I keep saying, yeah, it's in Phoenix. I mean, technically it's in Scottsdale, so if you want to split hairs over that, feel free. Some fancy place in Scottsdale.
If you're watching it and you're going to it, swing by and say hi. It'd be cool to meet some people
Yeah.
that we might not know. So that'd be cool.
Yep. I'm looking forward to seeing some gear. And I know one thing people have asked is like, how can we support you? Are there things we can buy? Is there, like right now, there's nothing big like that immediately that we know, oh, this is the thing and this is how much it's going to cost. Obviously, a vehicle is in the works. There's a lot of unknowns with that, so we really don't know what that's going to look like yet. Insurance is playing a role in that too. So again, a hurry up and wait kind of game for now. The other piece of that is our adventuring, right? So you've seen me on these fancy bicycles, and sometimes people are like, well, are you going to get one of those? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Probably not one of the bicycles for multiple reasons, not just because they're expensive. If I really wanted one, I'd be like, yeah, I think this is the right tool for me. I don't remember if I've said this before, but I've realized I need to start saying that I like slow outdoor adventures and not just outdoor adventures, because we've got these folks who are very involved in the adaptive sport community, and they do, outdoor mountain biking, and they're like jumping the things, and they do, outdoor skiing and outdoor snow skiing, downhill skis, and I've never downhill skied, number one. Number two, I just don't want to, so they'll be like, no, you should really do it. And like, you don't have to be scared. And I'm like, I'm not scared, I just don't want to. I've learned to qualify. I'm like, I like the slow outdoor sports. And so really, when it comes to adaptive gear for that, it's finding what's the right kind of chair or electric assist or different things like that. And I just don't know yet. There's so much out there that I haven't touched and seen or gotten advice on. So that's part of why we're excited to go to the Abilities Expo and check out some of what they have. I'm also hoping to make a trip up to Las Vegas. Not because Las Vegas, but because they have a adaptive trike hiking chair up there that I think I'll be able to try out through one of their parks programs and an adaptive trail program.
That'd be cool, because trying before you're buying is the only way I can imagine it right now. There's just too much.
Yep.
Way too much.
And it's too expensive if it is like, oh, this is awkward and doesn't really work the way I wanted it to.
Yep, it's way too expensive. So we're just hurry up and wait with us as we're trying to figure it out ourselves.
Yep.
We don't know what we don't know, and I know that that's groundbreaking philosophy. It's the lesson I learn continuously is I just don't know what I don't know.
Yeah.
So on to my favorite section, vocabulary.
Yes.
We are in a completely new world, and we are just learning vocabulary, and it slips in. And sometimes people have conversations with us, and they go, "What?" Because they don't know.
Like acronyms. Acronyms are the worst for this, right? If any of you have been military or otherwise, in
Salvation
any
Army,
world,
any world, even the Christianese. There's Christianese language. So
today's acronym.
Today's vocabulary word.
SCI.
SCI. Tell us about SCI, will you, Vanessa?
SCI is 3 letters, and it stands for Spinal Cord Injury.
Yeah.
Which is my kind of disability.
Yeah. So if you ever see a post that we're making or hear a comment and you see SCI, short for spinal cord injury, I'm trying to be as diligent as I can be and always writing it out. But I know that sometimes you get sloppy and you go shorthand because the community around understands the acronym for the most part. So
yeah. Or you're just tired and there's too many words to try to spit out, so it comes out short.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, SCI.
Or hashtags. I'm sure it's in lots of hashtags.
Oh yeah,
and
lots
comments
of hashtags
that I haven't been completely keeping up with.
All right, now what have we learned since we've kind of been introduced to this new community, disabled community? What's the big learning lesson that we want to share with people? So,
whenever I thought about disabled before this, I was like, oh, ADA, right? When it comes to things we've learned, I know when I've thought about individuals with disabilities, I have often thought about the ADA. That's kind of my first knee-jerk of like, oh, well, this is, there's this Americans with Disabilities Act, and so it does stuff to make sure they can do stuff. And that was really probably all I knew about it, which sounds sort of pathetic now that I say it that way. Maybe I knew a little more, but anyway, I did not know much about the history of that or what it entailed. And one of the most powerful things I learned was when the ADA was passed, which was in my lifetime. I was 5 in 1990, something like that, 6, and heard the stories about some of the history along with that, which was the Capitol crawl.
Yeah, so we were watching a documentary called Crip Camp, and yeah, it was a fascinating documentary. I recommend it with caveats. Don't necessarily ad hoc recommend it for all families. You should definitely preview it, or all ages. Definitely not an all-age movie.
Very historical.
Very historical, though. And one of the historical things that really just was a gut punch for me that brought tears to my eyes was watching so many wheelchair users, people that rely on mobility devices to get around, do a demonstration at the Capitol building. There are 365 steps to get up to the Capitol building, and there's no access. And what they did is they got out of their chairs, they did a chair to floor transfer. That's easy. But then they went 365 steps up the Capitol, and a lot of them pulled their own mobility device up with them.
I don't know that I can even do one step the way a lot of them do it, because a lot of them do it like a dip. I didn't even know what a dip was before this whole thing, but basically like pulling yourself up this way. I can push myself up like that, but it's a whole different ballgame when it's like behind you and you have, oh my gosh, I don't know how I would go up 365 steps or more.
One of the girls that's in the film is from Phoenix, and she was about 8 years old, and it's just really, it was really heartbreaking for me to watch her struggle as she's getting up these stairs.
I'll take on I have to.
Yeah.
Now, one of the other cool historical facts about the signing of the ADA is it was signed on
Our anniversary.
our anniversary day. So that was really exciting for us. So just a nice little historical tidbit.
It'll
for
be
you.
easy for us to remember.
Yeah, it will be easy for us to remember. Although ours wasn't in 1990. We're not married that long.
No.
Anyway,
Different year, same
year.
day of
Yeah.
the year. I also learned that July is Disability Pride Month after the signing of the ADA, because that happened in July. That July is a month taken to celebrate the achievements and raise awareness about folks with disabilities.
and raise awareness that disability doesn't mean you don't have abilities.
Right.
People have abilities. Like, it's something to celebrate, as knowing the people, not the seeing the disability first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big part of the concepts. Thank you so much. Thank you for our church family. There's no way possible. Church family, community, everybody that came around and supported us through the early stages of everything we went through. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been able to be beside Vanessa.
Which would have made
every day.
things a lot harder for me.
And just where we're at today and how we've been able to get along. We are just, God bless us when he put this community around us.
Absolutely.
And we are blessed by you continuously, and know that we pray and thank you and thank God for you.
Yeah. For our connections and our relationships and knowing you.
And we just hope that if you want to keep following us, we're going to keep going. We're going to show Crabtree Adventures and show our next adventures that we have.
Of course.
As always. And we will continue to do our best to update you on our life and what's going on. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the comment section. Send us an email, send us a text.
Facebook
call,
Messenger.
Facebook message.
Carrier pigeon.
However any of those things work. Smoke signals, but we might not get the smoke signals.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, but we want you to know that we are excited to bring you along for any adventure we come across. And as we like to say as we close these things out,
On to adventure.
on to adventure.
But you can cut that out if you want to. But
I might have to cut that out, not the other part. Hey, Vanessa, what are we doing today?
we're cleaning the house.
Oh. Hey, Vanessa, what are we doing today?
We're not eating ice cream.
Oh. Barnabas wants ice cream.
Yeah, he does.